doing some sketching, some coloring as well. This is a painting that I will be making, and so I want to give it a try on paper before I do it on canvas. On canvas, it's going to be a large painting, so instead of maybe doing something wrong on the canvas, let's try to do it here. If you drop in the chat, tell me where you're watching from. Tell me what time it is for you. So I know a little bit about you. Also, another purpose of this live is to relax, for you to relax, for me to relax. Perhaps you may learn a thing or two about drawing or sketching or painting. One thing about this painting that I plan on making is I want the sky colors to also be reflected on the mountain, which is somewhat of an advanced technique. And you can find this in paintings from Van Gogh. He never made mountains just gray or brown. Van Gogh used very, very colorful and unusual colors when he did mountains. So that's the inspiration that I'm going for, to make it not so simple and try to give it some character. So I think if we make the light from the sky reflect onto the sketch, we might achieve the same thing. Hello, Daphne. Thank you so much for joining. I hope you have a good night. Let me know where you are watching from, and everybody else as well. I enjoy knowing where everyone's watching from or what time it is where you are watching from. So this is something that can be observed in Van Gogh's paintings. And I see a comment about Bob Ross. What he did was a lot more realistic compared to Van Gogh. Van Gogh dared to use very unusual colors in his paintings, and Bob Ross was a master, in my opinion, of realism. Not sure if he would be categorized as impressionism, but in my opinion, his paintings looked very realistic. So I think this is good. Now this is enough pink, and I love adding pink to my paintings, always. It's one of my, I think, one of my signature colors. So let's add another color to the sky, and we'll do the same thing. I have all my colors here that I'm picking from, and I wonder if blue is a good one, or I think I'll go for something more like teal, because I think I might do both. If you guys have an opinion, let me know, because I am experimenting. I'm seeing what will work with this painting. There is so many possibilities. I might do this more than once. I want to get the right colors so that I don't experiment on the canvas, and instead I experiment on paper, which is a lot safer to do. Thank you guys for the comments in the chat. I see some suggestions. I think those are good suggestions, so I will certainly do that. I'm not sure how I feel about this teal, so let's switch. Let's do the one we were talking about. It doesn't have a name. Should name it cotton candy. Yeah, it looks like cotton candy. Accidentally. That is not the purpose, but it is a lot like cotton candy. So I think we'll do some blues, and I'll go back in with purple. I think when I add pink and blue to a painting, I like to add purple, because purple is in the middle. It's almost like a middle ground for the pink and the blue. And you'll see, I think it's more cohesive. Ali, today is your birthday. Happy birthday. Everyone say happy birthday, Ali. Thank you for joining. Thank you for watching. Getting creative tonight before bed. It's always good. The internet seems a good place to spend time on your birthday, in my opinion. It's a safe place. Thank you for the likes. I very much need them, and I appreciate them. Thank you, Daphne. Thank you, Ali. Very needed indeed, so I appreciate the likes. I'm trying to grow my channel. This is my second stream, so thank you so much. So we are going over the blue with the purple, and already I just love how it looks. I don't know if the camera picks it up, but the way it just makes it so cohesive, I love it. And I'll try going over the teal with the purple and see what happens. Thank you for subbing, you guys. I hope you enjoy the video. It should be a relaxing time for everybody before going to sleep and learning a bit, maybe a thing or two about painting. So I like the way the sky is looking. One thing I want to change is this blue over here, because the contrast between the blue and the purple is very interesting, not necessarily in a way that I like. So I will go over it with the purple, and I love what it's creating. If you're falling asleep, that's good. Good night, Daphne. And I see someone else joined, Toothless. Am I pronouncing that right? Good night, Ali. Thank you so much for joining today. And for those that have subscribed, thank you. That way, make sure you don't miss my lives. What we were doing yesterday was these little sketches you see in the background. It was just some doodling, a bit of sketching. So it was a fun time. You can fall asleep, Daphne. The purpose for these videos is for you to fall asleep. No worries. I'll try to whisper a little more quietly so you can sleep. I love the way the blue is looking, and I want to mix it with the purple more and make it frame around the sun a little bit. Make a little bit of framing centered around the sun. Ah, this is beautiful. I love the way it's turning out. I don't think over the pink it's a good idea, but over the purple, I love the way it looks. So I think it's a good idea to mix in a couple more colors with this purple. I did not know I was going to be doing a purple sky, but I love the way it's turning out. So let's do a contrasting color. I think I will show you so you see what I'm working with here. I have a couple yellows. I think I want to go with the lemon one. So let's do the lemon colored purple. That might be a little too light for what we're doing. Let's try. This is a lot better. So when we use the yellow, it is meant to reflect the light of the sun into the purple sky. I have a lot of colors, yes. I've collected them over the years because I love everything art related. I think we picked the perfect purple. And one thing about light is if we're doing the sun, in the light of the sun, we cannot have it stop here. We have to make it fade out little by little. So far I've only been doing lives at night. In the morning I might try it. I might give it a try. I think it would be a good idea. Maybe I will not whisper if it's in the morning. Thank you guys. I appreciate your support for subbing and liking and watching. Let me know what ideas you have. So I love the way it's looking. One thing that I mentioned earlier was that Van Gogh used to use the same colors that he did for the sky and reflect them onto the mountains or the ground or whatever he was drawing or painting. So I want to give it a try, see how this works. And I think it's a little too bright, but let's try that purple that we were using earlier, and let's add it to the mountains. Let's see what happens. Let's get a little messy. Let's do it in a bit more messy way. So far it's all following a pattern, so let's do a little nonsense here. Let's see how this works. I think if we do this, good night everyone. Take care, Ali. Happy birthday. Hope you enjoyed it. So let's do a bit more nonsense, and I like the way it's turning out, because when we are drawing nature, it is not always going to be uniform or perfect. So if we do some cross hatching, some messy cross hatching here, I think it might might create shadows and make it look the way I'm trying to make it look. I like the way it works. It's working. The light from the sky reflecting onto the mountains. But I do think that we need more shadows. So let's go back with the blue that we were using. And let's blend it a little more into the sky. And we'll also create more shadows into the mountains in the middle, or just random places, some messy shadows. The inspiration here is what Van Gogh used to do, so we are experimenting right now, and we're seeing what works to mimic what he did. Some messy shadows, I think, are looking great. I can already see cohesiveness in the painting in a way that usually you don't have that if the sky is a different color from everything else that you were doing. Okay, now I want to add another color, which is going to be very tricky. Another color to the sky. So let's pull our color tray here, and I want to go with an orange. So I have this one, I have this one, definitely I might try both and see which one works. That one might be a little too bright. I think this one's going to be better. And I might actually get a little brave here. Try to simulate some clouds into the sunset. It might not work, but we are experimenting. We're trying new things. It might not look like clouds, but it will certainly look like the light is reflecting onto something in the sky. And if this were a painting, I could definitely add some white and make it look like clouds. I'll be streaming probably for another 40 minutes. If you have to sleep or do anything else, please know I appreciate you joining and subbing, liking, watching anything you've done, and that I wish you a good night. You don't have to stay, but if you want to, you are more than welcome to sketch with me. Now, the orange can be overpowering, so I will be very cautious with this. It's a very warm, very warm color, and it can bring a lot of contrast to the painting. So I will make the little details with this orange instead of large areas. So as you notice, most of the colors in the sky are concentrated near the sky because they are reflecting the light of the sky. And the further away you get, we will start here and here, we will be incorporating different colors. So let's do some more orange details where we can. That will not overpower the painting. It's just looking very good. I do need another color here in order to differentiate the colors of the sky from the earth and the mountains. Daphne, thank you for asking how I'm doing. I'm doing very good. It was a great day. I'm debating if I should use this green. I don't think it will mix well with what we have. It might be a good time to bring back the teal that we were playing around with earlier. So we have two greens here. This is a mix of almost like these two colors. So let's see here. I think it will work if we use these two. So we can do some teal, and then we'll do the darker shade or the greener shade of teal. And let's get back to doing some cross hatching, some messy cross hatching, because shadows don't have to always be so uniform or to make a lot of sense. The brain, this is one thing about Impressionism and why so many famous artists, sometimes their paintings look like a children's painting. That is that the brain will fill in for you the shapes that you are seeing. So if we make a messy shadow, your brain will still know it's a shadow, and it will construct the shadow in your head so you will know what it is. Now I'm gonna use the darker green that we were talking about. And I always like to focus whenever we have a stream of water. I like to do more green around that area, almost to simulate that water has been feeding the grass around it. And so green gives it that livelihood, simulating a living thing like grass or plants. I think this is looking great. What I do need is some more teal up here behind the little houses. And you know what? On the houses as well. Let's do a bit of coloring on the houses. We will definitely be adding more to them, making them a different color later on. But for now, let's begin coloring them with just a little bit of green. So let's do now. I'm going to look at the painting and I'm looking at it and I'm deciding that it needs some more green shadows, some more messy shadows to make it cohesive and to make it make sense. And the thing about Impressionism is that the more you add colors, the more it starts to make sense. Because like I mentioned, your brain will do the work. Your brain will make something out of it. So what I'm thinking is that I will dare to add another color here. I'm thinking either a light blue for the mountains, perhaps a bit of red. It's a little risky. We might try some red, or some lilac is also a good idea. So some lilac, perhaps some red. Well, let's get playful. Let's do a hot pink. We already did some pink earlier. Let's try now some hot pink. And then we will follow with the red and see if this creates a bigger contrast with the sky. And the purpose is to have the sky reflecting onto the mountains, but we also want to make sure that the mountains have its own character and its own a life of their own. So we will not add hot pink to the sky. We will not add red to the sky. And we will hope that these colors give individualism, some uniqueness to the mountains, and have them separate from the sky. And I think we can already start to see that separation. I love the orange it creates when you mix it with yellow. Let's go ahead now. Let's experiment with the red that we were talking about. Let's give it a little test. It looks very pink, actually. It makes me think how much of it we should use. Might not do as much as we're thinking, and I will pick another red for this. Add some more red. I think if we add a very unique red, these mountains will become their own. And I like the touch it's giving to the mountains, even though it's not the red we thought about in the first place, but it's very nice. It's very cohesive, and it mixes well with the other colors that we've been including so far. So let's bring back the color box. And let's see what other colors we have. We have this red. We have this red. So let's give it a little test. This is the red I'm looking for. I don't even need to test the other reds. So let's get on with it and let's start giving the character to these mountains, because it needs to be differentiated from the sky. When you have colors that match and at the same time distinguish one area of the painting from the other, this is called harmony. So the way we've been using the same colors from the sky on the mountains, that gives it harmony and a little bit of balance. But the way that we are now using red, and that is not in the sky, gives it a bit of contrast, a bit of individualism to the mountains, makes them separate, unique, and it distinguishes from the sky, so it doesn't look like it's continuing from the sky. So let's use more red. The more red we're using, the more unique these mountains are looking, and I really like it. I really like how these mountains are turning out so colorful. So similar, but so different from the sky. And here, I'm going want to be a little brave and add some blue in the corner instead of red. Because when we do strong colors on the edges, what it does is it creates framing. So it's framing the painting that we are doing. Now let's do this side, because as you can see, these mountains look separate from the sky here, but here it's still just blending, almost as if it's part of the sky. Now let's do some messy cross hatching, because messy is good sometimes. In the right places, the right times. It's a good thing. And then we'll get on to the tricky part, which is the water in the middle. Because we've already used the color that you would traditionally use for blue. So we might use a green color to do the water in the middle. But you know, before I get there, I want to add another color to the mountains. This time, a color that will create some contrast with the rest of the colors we've used, and that is a darker color to add more shadows. We have a lot of light saturation. Saturation means almost how vibrant the colors look, and this is very, very vibrant. And we'll leave it, let it be messy. Some of the best paintings, in my opinion, they are a little messy. Let's do something for these houses. Let's pick some colors that might not be so traditional, like yellow. If you have an idea, let me know. I think yellow will make them stand out a little. Let's do yellow here and this one as well. And perhaps I might add some other colors like dark purple. I think dark purple is a great idea. So let's test this one out. Let's do a darker purple. Maybe a little blue even. A little dark blue. And let's add it to the houses. For the shadows, instead of doing a darker color. Let's find now a good green color. A bright green is a good idea because we want the nature, these little trees, we want them to stand out from everything else. Since we've already used shades of green, the bright green should be refreshing for nature. Well, let's do that as well here on the field where we are planting our imaginary produce that's in the baskets. And I think mixing it with some yellow will be refreshing and give it life. So let's keep up. Let's continue with the yellow on the houses. The yellow on the houses, it's bright, it's unexpected, and it makes it look like the light from the sunset is reflecting onto the houses. The houses are reflecting the sunset back to you the way it does in real life. Let's add some more of this green to the doors. Some unexpected colors that you don't normally see on houses for this village that we're drawing. To make it unique, to fully immerse the viewer into this world. To make them blend in to the painting that we're doing, the drawing that we're doing, the sketch that will be a painting. In this way, it feels part of the painting that we've been working on. Let's get back in with this dark blue. And what we will do is highlight the doors, the windows, to create a shadow that is realistic for this world that we're making up right now. And the last challenge that we have is the water. Water is very challenging to draw. So for this water, we'll make sure it stands out and it separates from everything else that we are doing on this painting, on this drawing. And I will play with the pressure of the pen. This brand is really good for this. These are Fine Touch from Hobby Lobby, but Crayola pencils, color pencils, tend to be great for things like this as well. So now that we've done the pressure lightly. We will go back in with another color. This time, I want to find a lighter blue. So let's test this blue. That is perfect. Every shade that is different from everything else on the painting is a great thing on the earth of this drawing, because it will create separation, it will create contrast. And I will be a little naughty here. I will add some yellow, some unexpected yellow to the water. The reason is that I want to simulate that the light of the sun is reflecting onto the river that we have. What you see might be very faint. But even if it's light, your brain will know it's there. Let's get back to the red, do some more shadows, and around the river for some added contrast that we may need. This is looking great and colorful. Lastly, the most important detail here is a bridge. So let's do our produce first. Some random colors. We don't have to overthink here, so let's do some random colors. And let's do our beautiful sun. Little darker than the light it gives off. Let's mix it with some yellow. For the bridge, we'll be brave and do a bright color. And if we're gonna do some shadows, let's make them light as well. With another yellow, another shade of yellow. And that's all we have. That's our painting, our drawing, our sketch for the painting. So let's add a date here. The month and the year. Thank you for watching and joining me making this beautiful sketch. Hope you guys had a great time, as I did. That's the last of it. We've finished. We've created a little world. Let's start